Well, there's one other clip I wanted to play from last night before we move on, and I wish I could play the whole exchange, but it's too long. I have a kind of a longer clip that I'm going to play still, but you can find the whole clip on my Twitter page. It's during the Q&A, a person who identifies as trans, who's going through transition right now, did come up to speak in the Q&A, and this doesn't happen very often. This is pretty rare. I mean, I do these Q&As, and anyone can come speak, and I'm always encouraging people who don't agree with me to come speak, and very rarely do they take me up on it. They'd rather go stay outside where they have their numbers and they can shout into megaphones and hold their signs and all of that. This was someone who actually came and spoke and stood up there, and I appreciate that. It takes courage. It takes guts to do that. From his perspective, this is like walking into the lion's den. This is behind enemy's territory. We're not his enemies. But that's how he would see it. And so it takes guts to do this. So I thought this was an important conversation. I wanted to share a piece of it with you. Here it is.
8 months ago, I was diagnosed with gender dysphoria while I was inpatient here in UW-Madison. I looked into the research and talked to doctors, and through my journey, I decided to explore medically transitioning. Because it's shown to decrease suicidal ideation, stuff like that. And since then, although I've had to deal with other issues such as transphobia and sexual assault, I've been more happier overall than I ever was before. And my question to you is, what specifically about medically transitioning do you think is so immoral that we should ignore the potential benefits? And why should I listen to you as somebody who's not a medical professional and has not experienced gender dysphoria?
There's a dishonesty behind it. Dishonesty in the false promises that they make, which is that you can attain this image of maleness or femaleness, or that you can actually become, in some ways, the opposite gender or sex, whatever words you want to use, which is a lie. It's not true. You never can.
I think I can pass. I have a horrible Adam's apple. My voice sounds like this. I still love myself. And there has always been money in making people happy, like wearing nice clothes or good food. It does cost a lot of money. That's why I can't get surgeries that would make me a lot happier.
But the point of medicine is not supposed to be to make you happy in the moment. That's not the objective of medicine. The objective of medicine is your overall wellness. It's about treating what is actually wrong. That's medicine. And so if you are struggling to accept who you were born as, what your actual biological identity is, I have all the compassion in the world for that. I mean, I can't imagine having that disconnect in my head. It has to be a source of immense despair. But what I hate is the medical professionals who, instead of helping you with that, and instead of helping you to accept who you really are and find joy and fulfillment in it, they're trying to make a quick buck. And they're selling you false promises. And they're telling you that this stuff is based on long-term studies. And they're lying to you because it's not. There have never been any reliable long-term studies on almost all of this stuff, because the fact is that the medical industry only started doing this at such a large scale recently, so they couldn't have the data. They're pretending that they do. They're lying. And that's what I hate. That's the immorality.
Okay, so like I said, that was a piece of it. That's kind of the beginning and the end, and then there's the middle too, which you can find on my, you can find on YouTube, or you can find it on Twitter. And I wanted to show that to you because, first of all, again, I appreciate the fact that somebody was actually willing to go and stand up there and ask a question. And also, I want to show that it's we have this idea that when you're talking to someone who actually is trans or actually identifies that way, and is going through the whole process, that it's like we have to choose between being compassionate or being truthful. Those are two separate paths. Those are two different choices. That's the way it's presented. But that's not the case. I think you can be compassionate and also say what is true, which is what I tried to do there. Now, if I have one regret And this is not meant as a criticism of the audience, who are great. And really all the audiences we've had on this tour have been awesome, very supportive, and I appreciate them all very much. But I regret in some ways the applause for me at the end there. Not that it was inappropriate, it's just, it's the audience's way of saying they agree. And it's not like a combative applause, but it's the nature of the forum. That's how it works in that kind of forum, and that's fine. But it does, kind of makes it sound maybe at the end like a Matt Walsh destroys type of video, and that's not what it is. It's not what I intended. I certainly hope that the student, didn't, that wasn't his takeaway. This is not a matter of trying to debunk or embarrass someone, certainly. I care about him. I do. I care about these kids who are being taken advantage of. I know a lot of them hate my guts. They think that I'm a horrible person. I'm a monster. And I get that. That's the way they see it. That's okay. But I care about them. That's why I care about the issue, is people like that who are dealing with something real, but it's internal. It's like something in his mind, something real. And if I had a chance to follow up with that student, I would tell him, first of all, that it's going to be okay. I know he's suffering. I don't doubt that. I know it. But it's going to be okay. He is okay. There's nothing wrong with him physically. He says there that he talks about he hates his Adam's apple and his voice, but there's nothing wrong with any of that. That's him. That's who he is. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. That's who you are. There's nothing wrong with who you are. The trouble is when your mind is not able to reconcile with who you are, or for whatever reason is not wanting to accept who you are. And so it's that struggle to accept that is the fundamental issue that we need to try to address. As I'm always saying, it is very much on our side, which is the side of truth, is very much a message of actual self-acceptance, of real affirmation. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Matt Walsh Show. If you did, be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel and click the notification button to get more content like this. If you want to watch or listen to the full show, head to dailywire.com and subscribe today. You can also listen to my podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.